race event, the chief steward wants to meet with all the drivers of our particular race grouping. And I say race grouping in a plural sense because you'll have multiple classes racing within this particular race grouping. They have what they call a big bore race group, they have a small bore race group, and an open wheel race group. And within those three race groupings, each one of those has various classes of racing cars racing within them. So as an example, in my race grouping, the big bore group, we have T1, which is me, we have GT1 and GT2 and T2 and T3 racers in this particular grouping. So it just happens to be based upon the type of car that you have, year, make, model, what their expected horsepower is, and so forth, so they can keep similar cars racing together at the same time. So after the race, wanted to look at my tires, and it was just amazing to see what kind of shape that they were in. You know, again, these are Toyo R888Rs. These are one of the best, closest to racing tires you can get that are still DOT approved. And so I have to, in the T1 class, you have to use DOT approved, which means that they have to be streetable tires in this racing class. And that's for several reasons, but mostly due to fairness. But as you can see, these tires, they blistered up pretty good racing around the track. I don't think they blistered up poorly. Someone's going to have to tell me whether this is bad or not, but I don't think so at all. They still give me a lot of great traction out there. And as you can see, that slag as well, that metal slag that's in between the spokes of my wheels, that's coming from the brakes. And again, these are DTC brakes from Hawk, and the rotors are from Bear, Ratispeed Plus rotors. And this combination, I got, without question, this combination was phenomenal out there. At no time was I afraid that I could not stop the vehicle. At no time was I afraid of that. And I was pushing the envelope as much as I could, trying to close and shorten the braking distance as much as I wanted to, and I could with this setup. And so that was just amazing to experience. And the tires seemed to hold up pretty well to that. So that was important. The other thing is that, the back end didn't really come out on me too often either. And so through braking and sometimes braking while turning. And I don't think the back end came out at all regarding braking. The only time the back end would come out would be if I was trying to accelerate, go from braking to accelerating to come around a turn, and then maybe the back end would step out on me a little bit. But no, braking wise, as you can see, the rear tires and the front tires, they held up pretty well. The brakes were fantastic. Going through this experience racing today, certainly some of my earlier thoughts are that there's no question, no doubt in my mind now, when all those auto journalists fawn over the Cayman and 911 Porsche cars, they have every right to do so. I mean, those cars are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And so I hope you can see in these videos that those Caymans and that 911, they can get around those corners so fast. Now, maybe the top speed on a Cayman down the straightaway is not, it doesn't have the acceleration that my car does. You can clearly see that down the straightaways, which is a good thing for me, but I can't get around those corners that fast. But they can. They can carry so much speed into a corner and then go flat out as soon as they hit that apex out of that corner. And that's where they make up all the time in the world. And I'm sure it's a lot of fun for those drivers as well. And talking to them after each of the sessions, they just marveled at the PDK, that automatic transmission system. I mean, it's Porsche's version of automatic transmission system, but that PDK truly ensures that they are always in the right gear as they enter a corner and come out of a corner every time. And so they are able to maximize their torque coming out of those turns and really be able to get the speed down and keep their momentum moving forward. And as I watched them, because I was behind them a lot, as I watched them, they didn't use their brakes that much. It was just amazing. You could just tell they didn't have to use their brakes that much. And unless they were coming down a straightaway full speed, of course they'd have to hop on the brakes there. But when they're going through these corners, and I mean it's just a light touch just to get their car set up to hit that corner right, and then they're back on their pedal. They're back on the throttle. And so one of the things that I figured that I need to do with my car, because my car is not there yet, but one of the things I think I can do to help close that gap is the straightaways. I mean, that's obviously the strength of my car. So it's tough to increase the horsepower on a naturally aspirated vehicle without doing anything to the engine directly itself. But I can do something to the way the fuel is being delivered to the car so I can get the maximum amount of throttle response and torque possible when I'm coming in and out of these turns. And so as soon as I can accelerate, the better off I'll be in these races. And so that's a thing I'm going to focus on next. And I'm going to get brake race calipers, not calipers, but race brake rotors and pads for the rear of the car. I didn't have an issue with braking per se, but maybe if I have a little more stopping power in the rear as well, that would maybe help slow me down just a tiny bit more to where I can quickly get back on the throttle faster. And so I don't want to upset the balance of the car. The car is really balanced really well, braking wise. I was really impressed with that. But I just want to get a little bit more stopping power and then a whole lot of acceleration power. And then when I'm able to do the E85, I think my horsepower levels will go up as well. Horsepower and torque levels will go up. But I need to throw more fuel at the engine and be able to do it with E85, and I think that's going to help improve my results, lap times. Maybe not beat a Cayman still, but certainly improve my lap times going around the track.